Hey everybody, Joe Baker here with the Edit Bay. Tonight I'm going to show you how to use Videocopilot's Element 3D to make a 3D model of acoustic foam, much like you see in this bumper. So if you've ever found yourself in the all too common position of needing a 3D model of acoustic foam and haven't had one at your disposal, this is the tutorial for you. This one required thinking a little bit outside the box, so let me go ahead and show you how I set this up. Now let's delete this. I'm going to create a solid, hit Control Y. We'll call this element. And before we do this, I'm going to go ahead and hit my text tool right here. Click anywhere in here, and I'm just going to click a bunch of V's. I have caps lock on, by the way. Okay, we'll go ahead and select this, and we're going to move these characters closer to one another so that there isn't a gap between the V's. You see I can drag that in, and we end up with this. All right, we'll go ahead and deselect that. Now this, we don't even have to have on. We'll shut it off. Go over here to our solid layer and apply element. Go up to Effect, Videocopilot, and Element. Now, before we launch Element, what we're going to do is we're going to come down to our custom layers, custom text, and masks. And on this path layer 1, on this drop-down menu right here, we're going to select our V's. Again, you can have the eyeball off on this. We don't need to see it. I'm going to click Scene Setup. Now, once we're in here, we're going to simply click Extrude. And that's going to give us our text. Now, it did give me these little black gaps in here, but I wasn't too concerned about that when I made this because I knew I was going to be extruding it along this plane and I wasn't going to see it. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to twirl this down, select my bevel, and now I've got my extrude controls. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. Go a little bit further, back out, and then we'll kind of orbit around this and see how we want it to look. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we need to add a shader that's going to add a texture that resembles foam. So I'm going to come over here to my presets, go to Pro Shaders, and Fabric. I believe I went with Fabric number 4. Let's drop this on here. Now when you zoom in, if you're more than a few feet away from it, it does resemble fabric. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit so the grid isn't obstructing our view of the panel here. Now, another thing to consider, once you get back into After Effects, you can always add unsharpened mask or add some grain to this. That way it gives it a little bit more texture. If you look at actual acoustic foam, it's got some reflective properties in it. Almost look like there's some glitter in there. And those are effects that you could actually pull off inside of After Effects. Now, Element 3D has a particle replicator built into it. In fact, that was its original intended purpose. But when I originally tried this, I went in there and I tried to replicate all of my models, and I never could get them to line up the way that I wanted to because I was trying to make this really huge wall. So what I ended up doing is, let me zoom out of here a little bit, is duplicating this single layer within Element 3D. So I can duplicate this much like I would duplicate a clip inside of Premiere. So I can just hold down the Alt key, left click, and drag, and that'll give me a duplicate. I think what I'll do is I'll get those really close. And I'm going to duplicate this one as well. Bring that one up here. Select this one. Hold down Alt. Make another duplicate. I'm going to really zoom out. Now I've got a rotate tool here. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. Yeah, these layers can all be renamed, by the way, if you need to come in here and identify them when you're trying to figure all this out. Now I'm going to kind of orbit the camera around here and help me line this up a little bit better. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go through here until I select this one up here on the top. Cool. I'm going to rotate it. So that looks a little wonky, so I'm going to go ahead and hit that rotate tool again and see if I can get this to better line up. Okay, we look like we're in pretty good shape. All right, guys, that about does it. If you have Element 3D, I would definitely encourage you guys to, mess around in here and see what you can come up with. There are a lot of different starter models. There's these primitives that you have up here that you can get started with. You don't always have to go out and purchase things. Sometimes you can come up with this stuff all on your own. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you haven't already subscribed to the Edit Bay, please do so to stay up to date on the latest tips and tricks. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the box below. I'll see you next time.